Hello, I'm Julian Rawl, Chief Executive of Market Echoes, and I'd like to talk to you about my latest blog, Big Data and Artificial Intelligence. How about data and intelligence? And I decided to write the blog because the media over the last few weeks has been pretty busy with discussions about the use and possible even misuse of data. Is the huge amount of data we've now got at our disposal something which is massively liberating to organisations as we seek to find out everything we can about our customers and potential customers? Or is it possibly even a slightly dangerous cul-de-sac where we're not quite sure exactly what it is we're analysing? Let's start off by talking about big data. Big data's come about because the number of interactions between producers and consumers has massively increased over the last few years. Think back 20 years when if you were going to purchase something there might have been just one interaction. Now you'll interact via websites and other forms of the internet, through social media, through face-to-face, call centres, apps and so on. Multiply all these interactions by consumers and prospects and you can see why we need more sophisticated technology to make sense of it all and to analyse it all. But the question is this: as we seek to find out everything about anything, is anything always good? Let me give you an example. In Boston, there's something called the Street Bump. It's an app that you can download, and then you drive around Boston, and when you get out of the car and go home, you can download the information. What is the information? Where does it go? The information records the state of the roads that you're driving over. So you download the information and the Boston Street Hall Repair Department then gets to work on finding out where are the biggest potholes and starts to repair them. There's a problem though. Who is it who downloads the app? Typically middle-class, affluent, young consumers who drive around in middle-class, affluent areas. So if you live in a part of town where you're not pothole app ready, then the chances are that you'll not see the pothole repairman because he's at the other side of town fixing the more affluent communities. And it reminds me of a recent transaction of mine. I bought a new car. Nice brand, good service, smooth transaction. Everything was fine. But then a few days after I'd made the purchase, it was obvious that the data gatherers and users had started getting to work. I received emails, letters, phone calls, all asking for my opinion about the dealership, the service, the engineering, and so on. And if I didn't reply quickly, I'd get follow-ups. So the company was trying to find out about my buying behaviour, so for possible later interactions with myself, or to use the data to help them understand how to sell to other people. At the same time, however, I started receiving emails from the same dealership advertising new cars that I could buy. Now that's a bit odd, isn't it? Because I just bought a new car. So on the one hand, the big data was telling the company to find out everything they could about me and my transactions in terms of buying a car. And on the other hand, they were actually using big data to persuade me to buy yet another car. Is this data overload? You decide. So let's move on to artificial intelligence. I recently Googled it, and it's quite interesting to see the words that come up after artificial. In first place, it's grass. In second place, flowers, followed by intelligence, quickly followed by Christmas trees. So now we know it. Plants are more important than progress. But seriously, artificial intelligence has the ability to radically change how we work and how we live our personal lives as well. It's said that over the next 20 years, some 60% of semi-skilled work could be replaced by machinery. We're already seeing the personal assistant replaced by the smartphone. And in our personal lives, think about cars. You've probably seen all the discussion and technology about driverless cars. Well, Tesla chief executive Elon Musk recently said that he could see self-drive cars being faded out because they're simply too dangerous. It got me thinking and it got me reading. And there's a very interesting article recently in a journal, Computers in Human Behaviour. And I'll quote what it's actually said. It said that people are now giving up on effortful analytical thinking in favour of passive, easy intuition. And where do they get that passive, easy intuition from? From their smartphones. it's back to the smartphones again. And what is all this telling us? It's telling us that we're actually starting to move away from the nuances of human behaviour, from figuring out type of thinking, which is something that sets human beings apart from machines. So, why am I so interested in all this? After all, I'm neither a psychologist nor a social scientist, just someone who makes a living by trying to align the needs of producers and customers. I'm interested because I think there's a big issue here. As we increasingly use artificial intelligence to drive big data analysis, there's a danger that the instructions we get from the analysis might have more to do with algorithms and less to do with human intuition and experience. We might not actually understand where the instructions that we're working on have actually come from. So the question is this: by the time we do understand, or we realise what's happened, will we actually be intelligent enough to have understood? It's a debate. I'd love to know your views on it. And also at Market Echoes, we can help you make sense of how to develop real relationships with your customers. And we're always really pleased to hear from you.